Sometimes either a husband or a wife, they don't need advice.
You go into this phase where you don't really want to speak to anyone. You just want that space alone. It might be after a long week. It might be after a long day, but just, I want this space. It's not because I'm angry at you. It's not because you've done anything. I just want this space.
When you ease the burden of somebody that is going through that type of hardship, because they can't do anything about it. That's it. It's like the end of the world.
Yeah.
And you ease that type of burden. But that's going to make you have trust issues with everybody. Not everybody, but with a lot of people. It's going to take you time to trust people.
I don't see that as a problem.
Boom!
Jeez, we back, baby.
We are back, and I think we say that every episode that we're back.
We are back.
But
Feels like ages ago.
it does. But they don't know that.
They don't know that because tomorrow they're getting an episode.
They are getting an episode right now.
God damn.
Okay, so different style today, and I'm going to look straight into the camera and say exactly what we're speaking about this week. So we have the current topics for this episode, support, self-care, self-worth, and heartbreak. So stick around for the whole of the episode to listen to how we speak about these things. And one more thing, if you haven't already, please subscribe.
We're doing well.
We are.
We're
We were
doing
talking
well.
about being at like 300 subscribers
I think
last
we're
week.
nearly at
400 already. So you guys have been amazing. And just to start off the episode, I did get a few people say to me, like on the actual YouTube page, that we should do a bit more with regards to replying to people. And I feel like we're not really replying on the YouTube. However, there is one comment that I want to discuss, and you did comment and reply to them on your actual YouTube page, and you said legend. So I'm going to read it out anyway, and this is from Rihanna. I don't know if it's actually Rihanna, but Rihanna O, who says, "Wow, this is a great question. I think I feel most at peace when I'm taking care of myself and completely prioritizing my mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health. Similar to your answers, I think you can't have peace in this life without the prioritization of your spiritual health and connection to the Creator. So yes, your level of spirituality is very important and certainly a defining factor when discussing your level of peace in this life." She carries on to say, "I believe you are most at peace when you're taking care of yourself and listening to your thoughts." So what do we think about that?
Listening to your thoughts.
She says, listening to your thoughts, feelings, emotions, problems, and worries. You can't be at peace while also neglecting the love, time, and care every soul truly needs.
Yeah.
So basically taking care of yourself and the others around you alongside spiritual.
Yeah.
I think that right there was the best summary for the whole of last episode.
It's interesting she says that actually, because I actually got my room cleaned, and it made such a big difference in terms of just wanting to be productive. Because when you're constantly like same room and everything looks the same and whatnot, and then you just kind of see it clean.
Yeah.
There's just, you can't, I don't know what it is, but you just feel like, okay, I'm going to be productive. I feel like my mind's not clogged. Do you feel like that when you're like in clean places? I
think that's a mental thing. If your space is clean, your mind is clean, you decluttering and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
It's mad.
Well, we might go into that today. And you know what's crazy?
I love it when you take over.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Oh, God.
Do you actually
By the way, guys, for real, like, obviously I kind of did the whole my laptop thing here last week. But I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't that I didn't enjoy it, sorry. It's more just like it felt more unnatural, especially near you.
Okay.
And it's funny because I was just saying to you off camera, like,
we were also very close.
We were very close. Like the amount of people that were like, you lot are too bloody close. But what was I saying? I have a very short. What was I saying?
Memory span. I have no idea. But you're probably going to take about 10 years to figure it out.
That's
so,
true. That's true.
Without me going into too much detail.
Oh, no. What I was going to say was naturally, you just took the role of doing what you do best. Yeah. And I naturally just kind of sat back and did what I do best. It's funny how it's like, it wasn't planned. But now we know, okay, Ben Lift's the guy for the direction and Yeah.
Thank you. I'll wear the hat.
Amazing
for it as
at
well.
what he does.
Thank you so much. May God bless you. Okay. Anyway, so with the idea, I think people have like given us so much support throughout. I think like I think last week's episode was the best with regards to comments, with regards to engagement. With the thumbnail was so much better.
Thumbnail, Neymar.
Yeah, and like it was very, very good.
Yeah.
But like for example,
you wanna be called by a name? Cool. Say that in Neymar. Say it. Okay.
Okay. There's a bit of tension in this room. Anyway, so like I said, with regards to like people supporting us, I think how does that make you feel firstly? Because if we're honest, we spend a lot of our time commenting, deliberating and thinking about what we're going to do throughout the episode during the week and so on and so forth. And to see people actually see the fruits of that labor, how does that make you feel?
Like, obviously we're not massive at the moment, but just seeing numbers on screen can sometimes feel like, these are just numbers. But when you actually see people like interacting with you, saying things, like actually being a part of it, it just feels different. It feels like they're real people. Like, what's going on? Like my niece, flipping, I always do this. It's like, you always bring up your wife and I always bring up my niece. Yeah. But she was like, I got to know you a lot more and to a deeper level by listening to your podcasts, which is crazy. Like, because right now it's just literally me, you,
and the third person
in this room. But we don't realize like there's people watching and there's people listening from like all over.
Yeah. So with regards to that now, I want to like address the idea of support. There's a reason why I'm saying this, because I think you guys have figured this out anyway. The topic of the episode that we have every week is usually revolved around something either of us has experienced or something that we've been thinking about for quite some time. And the same theme starts this week. So with regards to support now, have you ever experienced ingenuine support?
Ingenuine support?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to think about this one. Can you elaborate? What do you mean by that?
So in a way in which somebody's wanting to give you fake support in order to gain something out of you. If you haven't experienced it, it's good. But that does happen.
Are you speaking from experience?
No. Genuinely from myself, no.
It's never happened.
But I've heard of it happening to people.
Like, share.
So for example, if somebody sees, like a friend of mine was doing very, very well, and he, this happens a lot with footballers. Okay. So this specific situation isn't to do with footballers. Okay. But I'm saying with footballers, for example, everybody knows what comes with footballers: money, fame, and everything that life has to give. Yeah. And what happens is people want to befriend and support people when they're doing well.
Oh yeah.
For personal gain, or I know this guy, or I want him to do me a favor, give me a pair of boots, or do something. And yeah, so that was what I meant by ingenuine support, where somebody's giving you support
to gain
something out of you.
Yeah, I think it happens a lot more than we think. Like, everything you do you do it for a reason. You don't do things for the sake of just doing things. You get like some sort of benefit back, whether that's inner satisfaction, whether it's getting, I don't know, money, or like every single decision you do it for a reason. But I just think it's important to have the right reason, because then it becomes a blurred line of, am I doing this out of sincerity, or am I doing this out of selfishness? Yeah. And it can sometimes be hard to distinguish.
But you've said you've never experienced it.
Nothing comes to mind at the moment. Okay.
Give an example of genuine support that you've received that's made you feel really good about yourself.
Okay.
Other than perspective.
You know when something good happens in your life, the first person you think of to tell, that to me, or the first few people, that to me are the people that I consider to have genuine support for me.
But what have they done? What is the support that they've given you?
So just thinking about my life now, like if I'm wanting to do something, it's like I'd relay my thoughts to them. We'd discuss things. And this is what I find quite powerful, like having friends or people around you that you can have very productive discussions with. So if you're about to do something, bro, it could be trivial. Like if I'm about to do something now, put a message in the group chat, the boys group chat, boys, be ready, half an hour. We need to discuss something. And we'll like proper discuss the pros, the cons, the potential things that will come out of what I'm about to do. And like we proper discuss it and make sure we know what we're getting ourselves into.
Okay.
And then let's say I then go ahead with this decision. It's like that support that they offered me, that space to just think out loud and have different perspectives. For me, that's like that support.
So it allows you to see different sides. And that helps you gain a better understanding with regards to the decisions that you make.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, I think we spoke about it last week about being heard. And no matter how stupid your ideas might sound, like just to have a space of people that are willing to listen and take what you're saying seriously.
Cool.
For me, that's support. That's what I consider support.
Okay. It's interesting that you say that because there's different type of support.
Yeah, 100%.
There's emotional support, for example, which is a type of support that often involves physical comfort, such as hugs or pats on the back, as well as listening and emphasizing. Yeah. So with emotional support, it's where, like, for example, a friend or a spouse or a family member might give you a hug and listen to your problems, letting you know that they've felt the same way as you. There's 3 others that I've done a bit of research on and I've figured out. Yeah. The second one is esteem support. So this is a type of social support in expressions of confidence or encouragement. So when somebody's giving you words of affirmation, making you feel better. And the type of people that give this are like life coaches and therapists in order for people to believe in themselves. Okay, bear in mind what I've just said. So the first one is emotional support. The second one is esteem support. Okay? Because I'm going to ask you a question after that. The third one is informational support. Okay. So those offering informational support do so in the form of advice giving, for example. Let's say a friend of yours is going through a difficulty or so on and so forth. And he asks you a question and you give them information. For example, you're well learned in the field that you're in terms of what you do for work. And if I wanted to get into that, I would ask you for advice. That would be informational support. Okay. Then the last one is tangible support. And this one's quite interesting. So this one includes like taking on responsibilities for someone else so that they can deal with a problem in another way.
Like lifting the burden off their shoulders. Yeah.
So someone offers you tangible support when they, for example, bring you dinner when you're sick. Help you brainstorm solutions, which is exactly what you said about your friends and your boys group chat. Rather than telling you what you should do, like with informational support. Yeah. So
is that what informational support is? Sorry.
So informational support is when you advice given. You're saying this is what you should do. Okay. Tangible support is let's think about this situation. Let's look at it and let's see what's the best way to attack this problem. Okay. And tangible support is more to do with helping you brainstorm.
Can I stop you there? What do you think about informational support? Like the thing of this is what you should do.
It depends case to case. Okay. So
generally speaking,
I think it's very subjective. So support is very subjective, depending on the situation and scenario and the person. Yeah, all of these are very subjective. Yeah. So that's what I would say. I would say you can't just give. No, it's not like a fit for purpose one size fits all thing. Yeah. Where that one advice is the same thing for everybody else.
See, I mostly disagree with like how you've defined informational support.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think every single person should be able to make their own decisions. And I'm not saying, if someone gives you informational support, that you just go ahead with that. But I'm just saying, like, never ever go to someone with your problems, like one person, and then they turn around and say, you should do this, and take that as like holy grail. Because I think every person is different, and I think it's really important to take advice from a close-knit group of people, fine, but number one, more than one person. And at the end of the day, you have to realize they will never understand your position. They will never understand your situation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they are basing their decision on their reality.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great because people have more experience than you. People have gone through the same path as you. But
isn't that valuable though?
It's very valuable.
Okay.
What I'm saying is never take that as holy grail, because no one will understand your situation more than you. And I think people should have a little bit more faith in their decision making, if that makes sense. Don't just take what people say and run with it. Take a step back, take in what they're saying, and then for yourself decide, okay, me, Yahya, as this person in this situation, I think this person's right.
Okay.
I've thought about it. Then I'm going to say, okay,
give me a scenario.
Right.
It can be hypothetical, it could be something.
Hypothetical scenario. Okay. You want to take a gap year.
Okay.
One person says, don't you do that. You're going to waste you're going to waste the year. It's going to be like a waste of time, blah, blah, blah. It's going to look bad on your CV. You're not going to get a job. Obviously, I'm catastrophizing and it's a hypothetical situation. And yes, that person might have an excellent understanding of you, knowing, oh, you know what, like you need something to keep you going. You need to have milestones because they know you. It might be your older brother, it might be your mom, it might be your dad. And fine, and I think you should take that advice with weight, like definitely consider it. But then you might have like a burning passion and burning fire to go and study something or to go and learn something that they might not understand. So what I'm saying is take everything into consideration, all the advice that you get, but just don't blindly follow anyone's advice. Okay. Blindly follow. That's the key part.
So what you're saying is with advice receiving, take it with a pinch of salt, and also take it with an open mind and do your own research.
Do your own research. And going back to the examples, when I was doing YouTube, like some people would say, don't do that stupid video. Like that's not going to do anything. That's rubbish. I'm like, but I think this would do well. I've listened to you and I've understood like why you think it won't. But it's like, go and experiment. Like, what are you going to lose out? And then I'll do it. It's like, damn, this actually did well. It's just, advice is so important. But what's also really important is not taking that advice and just running with it blindly and not thinking about it.
Okay. That's good. That's very good.
Informational support, was it?
Informational support. Give me the 4.
Don't do this. Oh, wait. Okay. Emotional. Esteem. Informational. Tangible.
Well done. That's perfect. See, now that's value.
That's value.
Did you know that coming into this episode?
I did not know that. I didn't know that. I just heard of support. I didn't know that it was an actual thing where it's like classified as different.
There's different types of support. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Have you ever felt, was it esteem support? Let's go with that one.
Where
so just recap because sometimes people are just walking, listening to a podcast and not focusing. I know.
So esteem support, like I said, is where somebody gives you confidence and tells you that you can do it. I don't get that as much. I get esteem support in a different way, where people will say, more through praising. Oh, you're doing this well. You're well beyond your. You know how many times I hear that? You're well beyond your years. But that can play with. I saw
that in the comments section.
Yeah, that can play with like your ego.
Yeah.
I have ego.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I have ego, and it's problematic because sometimes I can think that I'm too big for my boots. Although I am size 8, by the way.
Is that it?
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
At
innit?
your big age?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
That
mental,
is
innit?
nuts.
Yeah, I'm a size 8. Anyway,
Wow.
yeah, so with regards to all of that now, I can think to myself I'm bigger than who I am and whatnot, but I always have a slogan, and I one day want to do something with this slogan, and that is believe in yourself, because no one's going to do it for you.
Mm.
That is my slogan.
Do you believe, and sorry to cut you off, do you believe there's ever instances where people believe in you, but you don't believe in yourself?
Unless they've told me, but I've never heard it.
Like, in your mind, do you think that's a real thing?
Yeah, sometimes people can see things in you that you can't see in yourself, 100%. And the reason why I say this is because I've definitely seen things in other people that they haven't seen in themselves.
Okay.
And it ended up becoming a reality after.
Okay.
Because I saw the type of skills that they have
Yeah.
and what they could possibly acquire
Yes.
with the right execution, and now they're doing well.
Okay. Yeah. That's fair.
But esteem support, to answer your question properly, I would say I lack that.
Okay. Do you want it?
I don't think I do, because
So this is interesting.
yeah, I don't think I do,
Okay.
because, and that takes me to my next point actually, because support now is like love languages.
Exactly. Yeah.
It depends on the type of support that you require.
Yeah.
There is some support that works better for some people that doesn't work for others.
Exactly.
And you just need to understand that. And I think it's really good for relationships as well, I'm not going to lie. Because if you now know the type of support that you require,
Yeah.
having that communication and discussing it will just make the relationship so much better. So much better.
Yeah. And as you're saying that, just something comes to mind. It's like sometimes support is, especially for guys,
Yeah.
is leave me alone. Like, give me my space. Let me figure this out. It doesn't have to be a very involved kind of thing.
Yeah.
For me, anyway. Yeah, sometimes it's like I will be productive if I'm just away from everyone and everything.
100%. Yeah. Like I said, it takes me straight into what I was going to say. And that is that support is not for everyone. There are
You mean different types?
different, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So different types of support
Yeah.
works for different people.
Yeah.
And these are all social types of supports, right? So all of this is like just in the bracket. Through the research that I've been doing, this is all types of social support.
What's the other type of support?
I'll go into it.
Okay.
So
Bennett came prepared.
Different people have preferences for a certain type or combination or a few types of social support. So for example, 3 of these 4 may work for you, 2 of them may work for you, or 1 may work for you, depending. Now, bear this in mind.
Okay.
Obviously, we're in the new year. We're currently actually in the new year. Well, I was filming and you're watching this in the new year.
Yeah.
And I was watching Diary of a CEO again this week. And he did something. And I was like, I want to run with that.
Okay.
Because I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
He did the whole video on his own with no guest, no nothing. And he spoke about habits, breaking them and making them for 2023.
Interesting.
Okay. Which is interesting because I think we might do something regarding that very soon. That's a wink at the camera. So yeah. So what he did was he just did research, read a couple books, read papers, so on and so forth, and he came up with things that can bring value to people. And I think here on Perspective, our main thing now is
Bringing value.
bring value.
Yeah.
You're watching us now. What are we doing for you?
Yeah.
What support are we giving you?
If we're not bringing you value, just honestly let us know. Like, I wouldn't want someone to watch us for the sake of entertainment.
Yeah.
I want people to take value from these conversations. And I think, like you said, there's only so much value that we as two can give. And that's why we want to bring on people in different types of fields and whatnot. So yeah, if we're not bringing you any value, just don't watch us.
But if we are,
Then watch us.
and subscribe. I think that's becoming like a slogan. Anyway, so like I said, with regards to social support,
Yeah.
it's different for different people.
Yeah.
And this is very interesting. So there's a study that tells you that you really can have too much support.
Oh, I love that.
And the study involved 103 husbands and wives who completed surveys 5 times over the first 5 years of marriage.
Okay.
Don't you dare do what I think you're about to do. Don't bring up me. Don't bring up anything. Anyway, so they looked at how support was provided and measured like what marital satisfaction is.
Yeah.
I didn't know this existed, but apparently it's a thing. And what they found was that too much informational support, which is
advice.
okay, too much informational support, usually in the form of unsolicited advice.
Okay.
Okay, can actually be worse than no support at all. Because sometimes either a husband or a wife, they don't need advice. They just want you to
Listen. Yeah.
So what they found it reassuring that you can't give too much esteem support. No amount of esteem support is too much as long as it's genuine. So out of all of the things that they figured out, the 2 things that they picked up from the study was what? That esteem support, doesn't matter how much you give.
Can you give an example of esteem support again?
I believe in you. You're doing amazing.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. You're going to achieve this goal. There's not too much of that as long as it's genuine.
Yeah.
Now the problem with that is the reason why they say that in the study is sometimes it can be ingenuine, and when ingenuine support comes into play, that's when there's friction.
Dangerous. Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
And I think what I found mad interesting now is the whole unsolicited advice. Do you understand what that means?
For sure. And unsolicited advice hits men and women differently.
100%.
So, as you said, for women, they rant because they want to be heard. They don't want any advice. So if they come to you and they're like ranting, it's not, oh, you should do this, but why didn't you do this? Just shut your mouth and listen. And for guys, it's more, I think, an ego thing. It's like, unless I ask you for your thoughts, I just think for guys, it's more like, I've thought about this, especially like in a relationship, and I've seen it, like you're in a car, the guy's driving, and he's taking his own route to where they're going, and the girl's like, why'd you go? Shut your mouth. Like they start bugging out. Yeah. It's like, I know what I'm doing. Like for a guy, it's an ego thing. Don't give me advice. For a girl, it's like, I just want to be heard. Don't give me advice. So yeah, I think it can be, advice is like a double-edged sword.
The psychology is crazy because even through therapists and whatnot, they don't give you advice.
Yeah.
They just listen. They'll drive you to make your own decision.
Yeah.
But they just listen. But I think a lot of us, what we do is we like to be, we have like a hero concept within us where we want to make people better people by telling them what to do.
And that's a problem in our community, I'll be honest. Like, I think a lot of people feel they can force on this. It's not even the advice that's the problem. It's more of an approach. And it's like, people are more likely to be pushed away from that kind of approach, in my opinion. And so, yeah, I just think if you are going to give advice to people, you do it subtly. So, for example, if I saw like you're being extremely rude to another person, I might subtly be like, yo, like, what was that about? Like, I don't think it was that deep, that kind of thing. I might subtly like joke about it at first. I won't, unless you've been an absolute then I'd get onto you. But otherwise, it's like subtle piece of advice. Like just, it's hikmah, it's like being wise. There's knowledge that this is wrong, but it's a wisdom thing to fix it without breaking things further. Powerful.
But what type of support works for you?
Okay, so in terms of what works for me, forgive me with all these names. I'm just going to say it rather than categorize it. I think for me, like, I don't know if, I think things like, you got this, like, oh yeah, blah, 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 that kind of stuff.
So esteem support.
I was going to say like, I appreciate it.
Okay.
especially when it's genuine. When it's genuine, it's like, raw, like, I got this.
Okay.
But in terms of support, honestly, it's just like, I'm going to have to think about this. So
I'll tell you what my one is.
yeah,
Tangible. Doing stuff for me.
remind us.
So doing stuff for me,
Okay.
easing the burden of whatever's going on at the time. So tangible support.
Yeah.
Things that you can touch and feel.
Okay.
So let's say, for example,
Has that happened? Can you give an example?
yeah, so tangible support can be, for example, if you're broke and a friend or family member or whatever,
Yeah.
if they know or even if they don't know,
Mm.
give you that support
Mm.
where it's like, and I love that type of support because
Even if you don't ask for it.
when you ease the burden of somebody
yeah.
that is going through that type of hardship, because they can't do anything about it. That's it. It's like the end of the world.
Yeah.
And you ease that type of burden. But it's next level.
Beautiful.
Next level.
Yeah.
So that's one of them. Even if like you give them that money in order to like you're borrowing it and them to get that feeling that they get when they receive that money that eases the burden that they're worrying about every single day.
Yeah.
That's the way in which you should give.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Forget about what you're losing in terms of the value that you're giving. What are you losing? Think about what you're giving.
Okay.
It's not just money.
Yeah.
It's the ease of burden of their
Yes.
minds.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I would say.
And on that point, you know, with love languages, you might want to receive love language different to how you'd want to give
Yeah.
certain things. Do you think it applies here as well? Like, you might want to be supported in a certain way, but you like supporting in a different way.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So there's certain ways in which I would like to give support, and there's different ways in which I would. It depends on the person that you're with.
Yeah, and I think giving, going back to when you asked me, like, I think giving support, for me, it's tangible as well, like just to make things easier for your life.
100%.
In terms of receiving support, I don't know why this is actually like harder than I thought. Like, I can't quite put my finger on what it is that makes me feel like I'm being supported.
Let me help you out. Okay. There's another study.
Okay.
So this showed that, and it examined 230. I don't know why it keeps doing like newlyweds and marriages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This specific study, but 235 newlyweds found that both partners are happier if the husband gets the type of social support or like support he needs most.
Yeah.
And for women, it was enough that the husband was just trying to offer support, even if he didn't always offer the right kind. That's crazy, isn't it?
That's actually surprising.
True. It's true, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah, it is true.
You-
From a man,
Yeah.
you can just try to, because it's so hard for us sometimes, but you can just try to, and it's fine. But for a woman, even if it's from, I don't want to say from their, it is from their nature, to give support.
Yeah.
And if they give that support and if it's not the right kind, it's undervalued.
Undervalued in what sense?
In the sense where, for example, if I'm depressed, I'm not saying to speak that I am, but I'm saying if I feel down and whatnot, and I'm just on my couch and I don't want to talk to no one,
Yeah.
and you come and tell me you can do it, I ain't gonna listen to you.
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want to say. It's gonna go through one and come out the other.
Yeah. Have you heard of and this is another interesting book. It's called Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus.
No, but it sounds interesting book.
It's a psychological book about the differences in men and women, and how it talks about, you know, when a woman rants, shut up and listen, and when a man, okay, so men, he described it, go into this cave. It's kind of like the man period.
Okay.
You know, it's like women have a monthly cycle. For men, it's not so cyclical, but it's like you go into this phase where you don't really want to speak to anyone. You just want that space alone. It might be after a long week, it might be after a long day, but just, I want this space. It's not because I'm angry at you. It's not because you've done anything. I just want this space right now. Have you felt that?
I have.
And it's not because you're angry at anyone.
Yeah, it's not. I'm just tired.
Just leave me alone.
I just feel rubbed out, so I'm just like, please leave me alone.
Leave me alone. Oh, leave me alone.
But yeah, so support is Support is crazy because I think each and every single one of us, we feel good when it comes to us, but if it's the right kind, and now you know a bit more about support.
Wow. It's so weird. Like these different concepts and things, you just hear support. Oh, okay, yeah, I'm supporting him. How are you supporting him? Yeah, I'm following him, or yeah, I'm giving him these words of affirmation. But there's always so much knowledge in everything.
100%. 100%. But now with support, you can have support from other people, but I think the most current type of support that a lot of people speak about now, and it's what charities speak about, and it's what mental health organizations speak about all the time, which is really important for our well-being. What's going on with your throat today?
I don't actually know. It's not just today. It's I don't know what's going on. I'm not ill. It's just moving a little bit mad.
Okay, no problem.
It's learning a lot today.
It is. So even your...
Sorry.
Okay, pause. Anyway, so with regards to, like I said, support, the best support that you could give is to yourself, in my opinion. Yeah?
Yes.
And in the opinion of Mind Charity, who say...
I thought you were going to say this video is sponsored by Mind Charity.
No,
We got a brand deal?
No, we don't have a brand deal. But Mind Charity, whom obviously work in mental health and so on and so forth, they say that you should tell people what helps. So if certain treatments have helped in the past, tell your doctor, let your friends and family know how they can support you. This is all through self-care. So your self-care. Whether it's listening to you when you're having a bad day, helping you keep on top of your commitments, or being aware of your triggers, what you should do for your own self-care, similar to the support, is tell people what you're going through in order for them to support you. That is a part of self-care. Okay? Because sometimes, and I think there's a problem with men now that we have, is we don't tell people what is affecting us.
I was just going to ask you, like, have you ever been down hard and not told anyone?
Yeah, because sometimes I just don't see the value in it. But after that, I'm just like, yeah, it helped when I spoke about it.
Really?
Yeah. It depends what actually is going on. Because there's if you clear your throat one more time...
I didn't. I was breathing. I was yarning.
Yeah, but if you...
now I'm going to be like, should I do this?
Yeah. But if you... tell people about every single thing, I think is unproductive as well.
Yeah, the reason why I asked about have you been down hard is because I have, and never told a soul.
Okay.
And for me, it's like I think I was more back then actually. I'm less so now. A private person. Where
you've said that 52nd time now.
Really?
Yeah.
It's funny because even though I say that, and it might come across as someone that's really private. Yes, I am, but I was way more a few years ago, to the point where like there's things no one would know about.
You know, Yahya makes it sound as if he's got like a Netflix documentary coming out.
It is. Coming out.
Yahya Vlogs. Uncovered.
No, but I say that because when you mentioned the thing about men and not wanting to speak, I don't know where it comes from, but it's like, oh, actually I do. I remember when I was younger, and this goes back to like childhood experiences shaping who you are. I remember saying something to someone. I thought, they're not going to tell anyone. Come on, man. Like, and I said it, and in my face, it's been blurted out everywhere. And it's like everyone's together. And it's like what I told this person.
So now you got trauma from it.
Maybe, yeah. And this is what it is. Like, because I told that person something, and now it's like we're in a group of a lot of people. It's everyone knows it. I was like, wow.
That's where that comes from.
That's why I don't tell people things. And maybe sometimes growing up, I might be like, oh no, let's just do it again. Bites me. And that's why I'm just
reserved.
I'd rather go through something, figure it out, and come out fine, than go through that thing, have everyone know, and still figure it out. Like, you know, in those two situations,
Yeah.
you're in the same
It's just
end
people
point,
know.
but people know.
Yeah.
Why? And I'm wrong. I'm probably like, some people say, no, you're wrong. Like, you should speak to people.
I think it depends what works for you. And if you're saying that it works for you,
I don't know if I don't know.
but one thing I would say is you need to unlearn that trauma. You need to
Of trusting people.
Of not trusting people.
I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I quite like that trauma.
Really?
Yeah, like.
But that's gonna make you have trust issues with everybody. Not everybody, but with a lot of people. It's gonna take you time to trust people.
I don't see that as a problem. Why should I trust
defense?
everyone?
It will become a defense mechanism, but sometimes it can be unhealthy. I'm not saying it is right now, but it could be unhealthy.
Let's speak about trust issues, and because that's like a thing, right? I was actually speaking about this with someone a few days ago. Why is it bad?
What, trust issues?
Yeah. I mean, I can understand from an extreme point of view. It's like anyone that wants to do something for you, like, no, this person's probably got ulterior motives.
Because you see humanity as negative.
Okay, in extreme cases.
In extreme cases.
But would you agree that some sort of trust issues is a good thing?
It's not an issue. You can't call it an issue.
That's true.
Some sort of...
But it's a spectrum, isn't it?
Yeah, but...
You got really extreme trust issues,
okay,
and you're trusting everyone.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So you can't call it trust issues.
Yeah.
It can only be trust issues if it's problematic.
If it's extreme.
That's it.
Yeah.
If you just take time to trust people.
Take time. Sorry.
Ad libs, mashallah. But yeah, so if you take time to trust people, then that's a defense mechanism and it could be a good thing. But if you label it as trust issues, I disagree.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with your disagreement.
Lovely jubbly.
Lovely.
Carrying on with what I was saying, with regards to self-care now, I was talking to the third person in the room about this actually.
Oh, so okay.
And before I go into that point, I'm going to say one thing before.
Yes.
Self-care, you need to look at yourself and be self-aware. I'll repeat that again. Please. Self-care, you need to look at yourself and be self-aware.
Yeah.
Okay? So spot your early signs. If you can, try to be aware of how you're feeling. So sometimes we're in a mental state and we don't know how we're feeling. We just feel that way and we don't know what caused it. We don't know why it happened. But we are just feeling that way, but we should be reflecting on why we feel that way. Could be because of your diet, could be because of your health, it could be because of relationships with the people around you. And another one, it could be with not fulfilling your duties. And this is a lot of things. So this could be from with your family, this could be from at work. That can affect you psychologically without you knowing. Because let's say you're at work, you clock in on a Monday, and all the way to the Friday, the task that you were set you haven't done, that's going to play on your mind psychologically. Even though, let's say, even if you don't care about what you're doing, if you don't do it, it's going to play on your mind psychologically. And these are the type of things that are like warning signs. If you see yourself becoming unproductive on certain things that you were doing normally, that's a warning sign. And you may be becoming, as Mind Charity say, unwell. And they're individual to you, depending on whatever scenario.
Yeah.
Can you relate to that?
What specifically?
Where you have been unproductive and that's affected your life, or in terms of what warning signs?
Yeah. So, over the Christmas break, it's nice because people are not working, but at the same time, like the kids in the family also have school holidays. Yeah. So it's just like a nice time to do whatever the heck you want. Yeah. But I quickly realized, I was feeling a bit down, and it's like, why though? Like everyone's off. You got access to anyone in your family kind of thing. But I realized it was the lack of doing something. And you know, this whole thing of get rich, retire when you're 22 and live at the beach and all that stuff. I think it's quite dangerous, like to just aim for a life where you're not really doing much. I think you have to have something that you're working towards.
You said this, I think, last week, where you said everybody should have a goal.
Yeah, even if it's like small things.
100%,
I just
idleness is dangerous.
Yeah. In fact, let me bring my studies in.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if it was a documentary or I've just come across this thing. Basically, there was a guy who was, I don't know if he had committed suicide or he's very suicidal. But he was came from a very, very wealthy family, rich family, billionaires. Everything was set. The best cars, best houses, everything. But he was suicidal, or he committed suicide because he was like,
Purpose.
what am I doing?
Purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have literally like, I can never outperform what my dad's done. It's like, this is...
There's no purpose, yeah.
Yeah. So like, it's just really important, regardless of what stage you are in life. And this is the blessing that people overlook when they're, let's say they're working, just come out of university and they're working. You've got something to keep you going that you don't realize has such a significant impact on your mental health.
Mm-hmm.
You only realize it when you're not doing anything.
Then you're like, wow.
But that's the thing. Everyone wants to do nothing. It's like the grass is always greener on the other side, regardless. You do this, oh, I wish I had that. And that's just like humans, isn't it?
Yeah.
Scary.
But one way in which you can figure that out and see whether or not how you're going, you know how I was saying, figure out self-reflection and so on and so forth. Talking to the third person about this actually today.
Bloody hell.
And he was saying I think he started to write a diary. And Mind actually say that as well. They say keep a mood diary. And this is deep. Where you're tracking your moods and it can help you work out what makes you feel better or worse.
Interesting.
So you know when you said, for example, for you and for me, to be fair, there are days where you don't want to do anything, you don't want to speak to anybody. Yeah. Write that down.
Yeah.
What happened that day that made you feel like that?
Do you think there's always a cause?
There may not be a cause, but just say how you're feeling and then go back to it when your mind's fresh and see how you feel.
Yeah. I have a funny story. When I was younger, and tell me if it's the same for you, like, you know, writing a diary.
Yeah, dear diary.
Yeah. If someone at school saw that, it'd get a bit like...
It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
He was in my house earlier. Yeah. And he had a diary and I don't think he wanted me to look in it. But I didn't. I'm not saying
of course, you're not going to... The thing is, it's not like... It's not for people to want to look into it, but it's just like... It was kind of looked down upon. Yeah. But now, I wish I wrote a diary since I was 11.
Because it's sick to look back.
It's sick to look back. Yeah. And even like recording videos, I love watching my old videos, bro. Regardless of how boring that experience was at the time, I love watching it.
Because it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Progression.
Yeah, and I remember like someone goes, why, like... The thing is, I didn't write a diary, but I just remember like the comment being made, why are you going to write that? You want to be like the white people. Yeah. I was like... But now looking back, like I wish I'd like that. Something. Yeah. Funny enough, actually, last year, I believe it was last year, maybe like 6-7 months ago, I started writing about my life from my earliest memory.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I was just sitting down and it was kind of like had some free time. And I wanted to bring someone into my life. And I literally started and said, look, I don't know where this is going to end, but I just want to take you on the journey of my life. So I broke down my family tree, how I grew up and those kind of things. I think I did about a page. And now you brought this up, actually, I'm going to go back and read it and try and carry it on.
That's crazy.
You should do it.
I want to start. I do want to start.
Because it can also make you a little bit
The reason why I do this and I do the research behind it is because I want to... everything that I say and I speak about, I want to implement.
Yeah.
So it's a reminder for me first before you guys.
Oh no.
But yeah, so I think one way in which we can look at all of this is the important thing now is support, and we need to understand what type of support. To summarize, what type of support we require. In order for us to become better people and have better relationships, we need to understand what type of support works for us and vocalize it and communicate it.
Do you think dismissal is a type of support?
For kids.
Let me elaborate. Let's say you did something and then you came to me and... Is it coming?
No, I think...
okay.
No.
Let's say you did something and you came to me and this is something big, like you messed up, whatever, and you've come to me for support. Like, what do you think I should do in this situation? I'm like, what the hell? Why did you get in this situation in the first place? Like, are you stupid?
That's not support.
So this is what I'm saying. Do you think that's
No.
dismissal can be a form of
That
support?
can't be support.
So why do people do it?
Because I think they're hiding their own insecurities.
What do you mean by that?
In the sense that they don't want to deal with somebody else's problems. They have so many issues that they need to deal with that they haven't addressed themselves, and because of that, they just dismiss everything from everybody else. Or maybe it's narcissism.
Okay, narcissism. I think that's part of it, but I also think another part of it is, I think a lot of people have this innate want to. It's like a superiority complex, where it's like you have this power of the other person. I told you don't do this. Like they get some sort of ego boost.
And it makes them feel better.
It makes them feel better. But it's like, come on, man. This person's come to you in a situation where they need whatever type of support you want to give. But it's like,
did you have to?
Like, what benefit have you brought from that other than giving your ego a little bit of a boost?
Nothing. Listen, we can help some people. They should listen to this.
They should.
Because we can't help everybody.
You can't help everyone. But as long as you can help some people, that's good enough.
Anyway.
Benif just took a sip for those on Spotify and Apple. And that's it.
Yeah. By the way, if you are on Spotify, I'm going to say it again.
Comment.
There is a feature.
Has anyone commented on Spotify?
Nobody.
Absolute snakes.
And we get people that listen to us every single week.
By
And
the way,
still nobody.
Benif's getting really scared because someone might come in and kick us out. Like, for those of you on YouTube thinking, why is Benif like constantly looking behind? Someone might come in here and kick your ass.
Yeah, hopefully not.
It's his fault though. He didn't book the room.
Anyway. Next week's going to be a great episode.
Why is that?
Because I've got a whole other journey for you to go through.
Interesting. Do you want to give us a little bit of insight? Because I have no idea what you're talking about.
I think we're going to discuss, what we want to discuss,
yeah,
a new thing that we want to start here on Perspective. I think the reason why I did the way in which the layout of the episode today is because we're going to transmit this type of energy into another thing that we want to start with regards to books.
Yes.
And we're going to discuss that next week. But before we leave you guys, and we haven't spoken about one topic that we said we're going to speak about, and that's heartbreak. But that's a good transition to next episode. Heartbreak and misery. I don't know about that one. But yeah, I want to leave you guys with a question, the same way we do every single week. And that is, what type of support do you require?
And what type of support do you tend to give to people?
And I want technical terms. So the terms that I gave.
Feels like an exam.
Yeah, I want technical terms.
What are they? Big man, go on.
Esteem support, tangible support, emotional support, and
you got this.
What's the fourth one?
Then
informational support.
Hold on. We just spot each other for those on Spotify.
Comment.
I have to do that. Comment, like, subscribe. Anyway,
Guys,
is that? Wow, that felt very, very quick. Neymar, how long was that?
it was quite long. You know what's? It's because
No, chill. He just comes and press a button on, off.
before we end this,
Yeah.
there's a closing tradition that we do every single week,
Yes.
and Yahya starts this off by saying,
Oh, until next time, take care of yourselves. Please take care of yourselves. Spend time with your family. And we'll see you in the next episode. How about you sit down? Thank you very much.
"Goodbye."